for taking the time. It's evening now, actually, dinner time. But thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here tonight. I know that there were several exciting events going on. I heard that there's a voter registration training and something at the library. So thank you so much. And of course, finals going on. So we really appreciate your presence tonight.
Yeah, it's the 1st of May.
Exactly. Exactly. May they bring us a lot of big surprises, huh? I'm Ann Popkin. I'm on the board of the Sierra Club, and you know what we're trying to do here in Northwest Arkansas. We've had a good track record membership up here, but what we're trying to do is kind of reinvigorate, restart the club a bit. We've had a lot of interest from people ever since some of the political happenings in the past year or so, which just emphasizes the fact that we all need to be working together and really be more visible and vocal about some of the issues that we care about and that affect all of us, whether or not we're longtime environmentalists or somebody new to the movement like myself. Anyways, I do have, I'm not going to make a long toast tonight because I tapped the glass. I do have the pleasure of introducing Glen Hooks, who is the director of the Arkansas Sierra Club. Glen is a man of many talents. I hear that dancing is one of his talents. So he knows how to have a good time. He might break out some moves later on. But I think one of his most notable talents is also being a very passionate advocate for environmental issues. So we're very lucky to have him here tonight, and please let's all welcome him.
Thank you guys for being here. So this is we're small but mighty, right? This is what's going to happen tonight. So again, thank you. I'm Glen Hooks. I'm the director of the Sierra Club here in Arkansas. I've been here for about 15 years, working for Sierra Club in different capacities. About 11 years with National, about 4 years as the first chapter director we've had here in the state, and have had a really good opportunity to work with a lot of folks around the state and nationally on environmental issues. And so, as Anna said, we're really hoping to reinvigorate some activity here in Northwest Arkansas. For a long time in the Sierra Club here in Arkansas, the Ozark Headwaters Group, which is a local group here, was really the driver for Sierra Club activity. Some of you folks I see some heads nodding, some of you folks who've been around for a little while know that to be true. There's a really wonderful environmental community here in Northwest Arkansas, not just Fayetteville, but Springdale, Rockford, Bentonville, a lot of these places. And I'm going to come here. We want to bring that back because this is really a hub of some wonderful things happening. And so what I'm hoping to do tonight is to tell you a little bit about some of the things we've been working on nationally and statewide. Then we're going to play some environmental trivia because it's not a serious, super serious meeting. There are some prizes though, so get your knives out. We're going to be super competitive. And then we'll open it up for some conversation. So over the last 10 or 12 years here in Arkansas mainly, and also nationally, Sierra Club has been working on energy issues. We've been working on mainly trying to shut down dirty coal-fired power plants that generate electricity and replace it with solar, replace it with wind, replace it with energy efficiency measures to try to make our energy sources the cleanest that they can be. Coal is the single dirtiest source of electricity that we have, and I'm proud to tell you that over the last decade or so, Sierra Club's Beyond Coal campaign has been part of not only stopping more than 250 coal-fired power plants from being built in this country, but also in retiring more than half of the nation's existing coal-fired fleet over the last, since January 2010. We're starting to create that space for solar, create that space for wind, and you see that here in Arkansas. You're seeing for the first time, just in the last 2 years, us in the state developing the very first utility-scale solar power plants, solar farms. I've lost track, this is a happy problem to have, I've lost track today exactly how many we have. It used to be 0, that was really easy to remember. But now we have them in places like Stuttgart, and Camden, North Little Rock, Clarksville, Springdale, all over the state, in places that are not traditionally thought of as liberal wonderlands. These are places that are realizing that clean energy is the way to go, that it makes economic sense, and oh, by the way, it contributes to clean air, clean water here in what we call the natural state. So it's a really wonderful trend that we're on. And so Sierra Club has really been leading the way here in Arkansas and also around the country in making this happen. we're proud to be part of that for a number of years. And so as we've been shutting down coal-fired power plants, and as we've been stopping those kind of plants from being built around the country, the natural question is, what are we going to do to replace that power? Sierra Club is not anti-electricity, we're anti-dirty electricity. And so we've kind of viewed our mission as creating the space for solar and wind energy to come in and flourish. And if you've been paying attention over the last few years, you'll see that that is really starting to happen, not just in Arkansas, but around the country. Every quarter, it seems like we're setting new installation records for solar, new installation records for wind energy. That's the kind of country that I think people in this room want to live in, right? Where you're not generating power in ways that devastate communities, and you're not generating power in ways that cause asthma and heart disease and early death, but you're generating power in clean ways that can really not only be good, reliable sources of electricity, but also create good paying jobs here in the state, and also, as I mentioned, create power in ways that it doesn't kill us. And so what Sierra Club is all about, really, all over the last decade specifically, is trying to be active in every arena and every venue where we can stop dirty power and where we can promote clean energy. And so right here in Arkansas, in addition to saying we're going against power plants, we are actively involved in the retirement of two of the biggest and dirtiest coal-fired power plants in the state, but also even in the region. That's Entergy's White Bluff and Independence plants. We're going to be able to announce very soon retirements of those two plants. That's exciting stuff. I'm in Arkansas. This is my home. I've lived here my whole life. That is due to hard work from Sierra Club members. And so if you're new to Sierra Club, or you're here thinking about, I need to get more active, what do they do besides go on hikes? That's the kind of stuff we do. We are advocates, and we are an organization that involves itself in politics. We involve ourselves in government, we lobby, we show up at every venue, and we make a difference. So I hope that this is something that you want to be active in as well. If there was ever a time to be active in the political arena, not just campaigns with government, now is the time. If you're an environmentalist, we are literally under attack. The last 8 years have been pretty good for us. It's been a good time to work at Sierra Club because we've been active participants in closing loopholes, closing exemptions, making our power cleaner, making our water and our air cleaner. Now we have administration both in Little Rock and in Washington that is actively engaged in turning back those things and repealing those progressive environmental laws that we all care about. So I would hope that you will get heavily involved in what we're doing. If you're not a Sierra Club member, I have membership forms over here. You join today, you become a member of the national, the state, and the local Sierra Club, and you kind of help us work on this kind of thing. So if you're just interested in going on hikes and stuff, this is a great place for you. If you're interested in not hiking, but you really want to get into political and governmental advocacy on a citizen level, this is the place for you as well. And if you want both of those things, then I really want to talk to you because we have a lot for you to do. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking today, but I do want to sincerely invite you to be part of the Sierra Club if you're not already, to get your friends involved in the Sierra Club. It's the nation's oldest and largest environmental protection group. We've been around since 1892, and I'm proud to be part of it.
What's the membership fee?
Membership fee, you can join for as low as $15 American. It's you, right, you can. For that, you can join online, or you got membership forms there. At 1 year membership, you're a member of the National, State, and Local Sierra Club. You get the National Sierra Club magazine, which is fantastic. You get plugged into all the things we're doing here, and also you get discounts on national outings as well. So, well worth the $15 I think. But it's great stuff. And you can come get right now, I think you get a free backpack too, so there's all sorts of things.
Take some of this for...
Yes, please do. Yeah. By the way, this is our good friend Mason, who is part of the Student Sierra Coalition at the University of Arkansas. So we're glad he's here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about all the things that are going on. This is really more of a social and getting to know each other event. I'm happy to answer any questions right now, but after the questions, it's time for environmental trivia, so I don't want to step on that time. Does anybody have any questions about what we're doing or how you might get more involved?
So you mentioned a lot about shutting down dirty coal power plants. are we just doing that, or are we advocating for these new solar installations and wind installations?
Yeah.
And things like that?
Thank you for doing that. Yes, I think environmentalists a lot of times get unfairly accused of just being against things, right? Stopping this project, not that stuff, the sky is falling. I think we do a pretty good job of also being advocates for things. And so we are advocating for solar projects. And one of the things that I think is the best example is right now in the Arkansas Public Service Commission, we have been involved for over a year in what's called the net metering docket. Some of you guys know what net metering is. If you don't,
That's why I'm here about.
all right, well, you're glad to ask the question. So net metering, if you're somebody who has solar on your home, then under Arkansas's net metering law, you produce a certain amount of power from your solar array. If you produce more than your home uses, then you can sell that excess power back to the utility and they have to buy it from you. It's a great thing, right?
Does it say they have to buy it?
Yes.
Or does the utility have the option of deciding whether they want to do net metering or not?
Utilities have to buy your power.
It depends on the utility, but in Northwest Arkansas, I think it's mostly a credit system. You don't need cash, but you get credit on your bill.
Right. And so, over the years, we've been involved in tinkering the net metering rules to make them better. It used to be you'd have to like get a $1 million insurance policy to make sure you didn't fry the grid, which has never happened anywhere ever. And we've worked on some meter aggregation rules that are pretty technical. But right now, here's the system: is that the utilities are trying to get the law changed, or the net metering regs changed, to do a few things, one of which is to basically charge net metering customers a fee for the privilege of being a net metering customer. For the privilege of generating your own power, they want a fee. And their logic is, hey, we built this entire electrical grid, you guys are freeloading on it, we should be able to charge you a reasonable fee to recover our costs.
What about my cost?
I guess you got to bear those yourself, then. Right? So they want to do that. And so we are involved in a docket, that's basically a case at the Arkansas Public Service Commission, to determine a few things. One victory you already won. Those of you who are already existing net metering customers, they wanted to say everybody's going to be under this new rate structure, including people who've already invested tens of thousands of dollars sometimes in their systems. We made it to where the people who are existing customers are grandfathered in under the old rate structure, which is great for you. We're pushing now to make sure that this fee that they want to charge is zero, right? And so we're actively in this docket in the commission. We have been commissioned studies saying the benefits of having net metering customers on the system is greater than the cost of the utilities. We've been slugging it out for a little over a year, and we're waiting on a decision from the Public Service Commission right now on what that fee will be, if anything. I think we've proven that they don't need to assess an additional fee, that the utilities don't need it. In the very beginning stages of this, they informally, in response to a question I asked them, they said, oh, we estimate it's going to be about $30 a month, which removes the economic incentive for people to do solar in the first place, right? That's what it's all about. It has nothing to do with their costs and blah, blah. It's about killing the solar industry, which is fairly nascent in Arkansas, just several hundred people. But they want to kill it before it gets started. So if you're looking at putting solar panels on your home, you're going to pencil it out. You're going to say, how long is it going to take me to pay this back? How many my energy savings? You've got to pay a $30 fee a month, every month. That's going to remove your economic incentive, right? So that's what they're after. So answering your question, Mason, yes, we're advocating for solar, and we're also advocating for fair solar. We're also advocating for wind. You know, right over the border, the Oklahoma border is a massive wind farm project coming called the Wind Catcher Project. 2,000 megawatts of wind, a big chunk of it coming to Northwest Arkansas if everything goes well. And there's a shadowy group of people who don't want to say who they are, saying, oh, we don't need Oklahoma wind, we should have Arkansas solar. And I don't think it's the solar people, I think it's a bunch of shadowy other people. The Sierra Club is advocating for more wind, more solar. We advocate for those kind of projects, not to benefit particular companies, but if they are the kind of projects that benefit us all, with cleaner energy that can displace dirty coal, we're all for it.
And I say something
Yes.
that when it's pretty awesome to drive through wind farms. We travel a lot and we drive, you know, on my way to the southwest or something, drive for a long time. And this humongous pellets, you know, I mean, it is a big thing. And whoever's land it is on, it is, and I know there was an issue in England about it, because people did vote because they didn't want, it makes a noise, there's certain things about it, you know?
So it's certainly, in my opinion, outweighed, like if you're dealing with a coal plant, you know, if you're dealing with the pollution and the
Yeah,
noise and
and
the
having
gas.
to be in a flat area that's not impeding on agriculture and all of that, you know?
Sure. And so, a lot of people don't know this, but we in Arkansas, we don't generate a lot of wind here. We're not really that heavy of a wind state, as opposed to like Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas. But we have multiple companies in the state that build wind turbines, that build the big blades. They ship them all over the world, essentially. And those companies that are headquartered here, the North American headquarters, are all foreign companies that are making a lot of jobs for Arkansas, or Kansas. But we're not making a lot of wind energy here, but it's a key economic driver here. And if you're thinking about renewable energy, a good argument for people is to say, you know, we've already got more than 25,000 jobs in Arkansas that are directly attributable to the renewable energy industry. It's becoming more and more of an actual economic driver for the state. 10 years ago, I couldn't say that, Terry, right? I mean, it wasn't, and it's, not only is it creating jobs, the cost of solar and the cost of wind is plummeting, and so it's becoming more of a apples and apples comparison for folks. So it's an exciting time to be working here. You know, when I first started doing this kind of stuff, I mentioned global warming down at the state capitol, and people just laugh. When I mentioned solar and wind energy, and they go, oh, it's so expensive. Or I'd say, you know, we're going to have green jobs, but I couldn't point to them. Now I can. And I can point to specific solar facilities and wind energy and stuff like that. So exciting time to be here, and I hope that you want to be part of the next chapter. It's
I
a good
have
time.
another question.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
much energy do these wind farms produce as compared to a coal plant or what nuclear plant or whatever is, you know, generating energy? So if you go to this humongous field and all you see is these turbines moving, so how much energy do they produce compared to the more conventional energy?
You know, all these power plants they'll produce a certain amount of megawatts, and it depends on their size. And so, Terry, maybe I take a answer more on the technical side of things, but it's really depends on the size. Terry's a solar energy expert. Really, I'll defer to him.
Well, the wind in Oklahoma, the current wind projects that are coming online are all 45% capacity factor or more. So 45-50% capacity factor. That means of the number of hours per year, the equivalent of 45% of all-out production of the nameplate production.
45% compared to conventional?
Well, like a nuclear power plant is typically has a capacity factor of like 95 or 96%. So it's at least half that. So if you see a rating of 2 gigawatts like this plant, this wind catcher plant, that would be the equivalent of a nuclear plant at 1 gigawatt or more. So that's a lot of power. Like a 1 gigawatt nuclear plant is a normal sized nuclear plant.
So when do you think that Arkansas nuclear one is going to be decommissioned? I remember when I moved to Arkansas, we were trying to shut the plant down. That was 1985, 86, and it's still operating.
Yeah, I don't know what the plans are for nuke one.
Okay.
I mean, I think that if we're talking about the next chapter, we've kind of opened the book a little bit, right? We've written the first couple of chapters, shutting down coal, we're building more solar and wind across the country and in Arkansas. What's going to be the next couple of chapters is largely going to be dependent on the things that we do in Arkansas, right? What kind of pressure are we going to put on people? You know, we can go as highly technical as you want to on this kind of stuff, but I think some of the basic ideas are, you know, the questions of, are we going, as we go into solar and as we go into, let's say solar specifically, is it going to be the kind of solar that more people have it on their homes, distributed generation, or are we going to go in this sense of big centralized solar farms that are kind of where we're going down? That's, and I was mentioning a while ago about this net metering document, that's the first salvo in this fight. Energy wants to continue being the central provider, and if they can stop you and you and you from solar power in your home, then they can continue their model of business. I'm not even necessarily saying one's better than the other. This depends on you. But that's going to be the next chapter. Is it going to be continued central utility generation, or is it going to be us taking that power back and generating it ourselves? And then maybe the next stage after that, if we get more exciting, I get into this kind of stuff, but thinking about battery storage, right? That's the guy that's going to be the next billionaire. Is, you know, people are always like, oh, the sun doesn't always shine, or the wind doesn't always blow. Well, okay, right? But if we have batteries that store this power all day long, and then when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing, we can still power our houses and our cars and our businesses, that solves that problem, right? So we're getting it. And it's all exciting, futuristic stuff, but it's not as futuristic as it was 10 years ago. It's moving really quickly, and we can be kind of on the cutting edge of that. So,
where are we as a state in comparison to other states as far as solar production goes?
we're new. I would say we're new. Terry, would you agree with that? We're pretty.
Oh, yeah,
Terry's very much more of an expert in solar than I am. I think we reached about close to double digits, if not double digits, in the amount of utility scale solar facilities in the state now, from 0 2 years ago. Compared to other states, it just depends on the state. Some states are very heavy on wind, and some we're more heavy on solar. But you want to answer that, Terry?
Well, SWEPCO, right now, we've got 8% renewable energy, including like the Beaver Lake Dam generation. But with the wind catcher project, it would go from 8% to 26%. Just with that one project.
Is that a SWEPCO
For within
project?
SWEPCO. Well, it's an AEP project.
So SWEPCO would be buying energy from this.
SWEPCO would own 1.4 gigawatts, and their Oklahoma affiliate would own the 0.6.
So, make sure I understand that, because I'm seeing these ads. So, is SWEPCO involved in this?
Yes.
ADP
I
is
thought it was
SWEPCO's
the energy companies that were advertising against this.
Well, they want to get in on the ground floor, you know, and they can see the money and they get it on.
Well, I have my suspicions, but just to be clear what we do know. So American Electric Power is SWEPCO's parent company, right? And so SWEPCO AEP, or AEP SWEPCO, is in favor of the wind catcher project and is committed to buying and using the energy in that project. These other groups that call themselves Renewable AR or something like that, and run all these ads, they refuse to say who they are. And I know that they're doing exactly the same thing in Louisiana as projects go. And they're saying we're for solar, nothing for this out-of-state wind. They're trying to be all nativistic about it, but it's either they try to present themselves as solar people, but they're not. I don't think. I think they're really fossil fuel companies. If I had to guess, who are trying to kill kill wind in this case.
So this would save $4.5 billion in ratepayers' money over the next 20 years.
That's terrible, right? The last thing I'll say is this. I want you to be really proud, people who are from Fayetteville, be really proud of your city. Your mayor has really done some amazing things environmentally. I'm proud that he's a Sierra Club member. Alan Jordan.
Did he really?
He is a Sierra Club member. He's
No,
doing.
no, did he really do a lot of good things for the environment?
Can I tell you one that I'm most proud of?
Please do.
All right. So one of the things that I've been working on for the last couple of years is Sierra Club's what we call the Ready for 100 campaign. So as we start shutting down these coal plants and start getting away from dirty energy, trying to replace it with clean. And so we have these issues these days with the federal government not really being on our side, and the state government not really being on our side. We're really focusing a lot on municipalities, cities, and towns across the country. And the Ready for 100 campaign is about convincing individual cities, mayors, and city councils to pledge to move their city to be powered by 100% clean energy, right? So we've got now 65 cities across the country that have said yes, and then we work with them on their plans, and this is a responsible plan. This is not, tomorrow you're 100% clean energy, because we want to be real about it. Some of them are saying by 2030, by 2040, with minimum milestones. And we work with the city of Fayetteville, the mayor, and the sustainability director, great guy, Peter Nierengarten, if you guys don't know him. For a year, I'm coming up with a plan on how Fayetteville would get there. Fayetteville, on January the 2nd of this year, the city council voted 7-1 in favor of this plan. So your city is now working on a 100% clean energy plan led by the mayor, led by the state building director, and I'm as proud as I can be in that city for taking that step.
Thank you.
I would love to have 8-0, but I couldn't get John to 2. So we're doing that across the country. I'm working on Little Rock right now. I've got a yes from the mayor, but I'm just putting it over the announcement page, which is all things. This is pretty much it. So this is the kind of thing that you should get involved in your city or in other cities where you have contacts. And if you are the kind of environmentalist who is tired of always people saying that you always say no, you're in the way of progress, it's a great example of something you can be involved in that completely refutes that. I'm for clean energy. I'm for 100% renewable energy in my city where my kids live or my grandkids live or where I live. You know, this is a positive thing you can do. So with that, unless there are other questions, I will stop and make sure, I know you guys have your eyes on the prizes up there, so we have wonderful environmental trivia prizes. Who's ready to play?
Yeah.
Oh, the enthusiasm is killing me. All right, you can't do that thing so real quick. You want to be the environmental trivia person?
Oh, jeez.
I'm the enthusiast. All right. So the prizes today are, you see these Sierra Club and beer mugs, right? Fancy. That's my last few. Right? And also the Sierra Club and beer koozie, right? So we have 8 prizes. We have 8 questions. You can choose which one you want until one of them runs out. Then we'll go from there. So first answers. Shoot your hand up if you're the one who knows the answer to this. First question, number 1. Who is the founder of the Sierra Club? Mason.
John Muir.
John Muir, big prize.
You have so many choices.
Whoa.
Hi, Gwen.
Hi, I'm Norma.
Hi, Norm. Glad to see you. Come on in. If you wouldn't mind signing in, we're just playing a little environmental trivia.
I got this one.
Sure.
Still all left though.
It might be easier to actually do
Right over there.
We are playing environmental trivia right now, so if you know the answers, you put your hand up and you get a fabulous door prize. All right, maybe if you were paying attention, you might know this. What electricity source is the single most polluted? Oh, he raised his hand. Terry Trimwell.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah.